Countdown, 3, 2, 1, we're live.
As I was looking at this on the calendar again and just thinking about it, 10 p.m. your time is relatively late. Are you a night owl? Are you naturally up late, or do you just push the
Um,
limit?
yeah, I mean, I try. I have made a lot more effort, especially since I've been full time with golf. But a lot more effort to, well, it's good for mindfulness, isn't it? Sleep. It's actually what our body
Sure.
needs. Unfortunately, Trev, previously, and especially when I was working and then trying to get this off the ground, I would be, I mean, sometimes I would work until about midnight because that was just a shift pattern
Yeah.
I was on. And then
Yeah.
I'd probably get back and it's not like I go straight to sleep. So I'll be sat there
Sure.
editing until like 3 a.m. But
Wow.
now I make sure I'm bedtime is midnight and then I'm always up at 7. So I always get 7
Okay.
hours.
Okay.
And I'm a lot
Nice.
healthier and I'm a lot happier because of that, funnily enough. It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah. It's strange, but it's not,
They
right?
always, yeah, they say like, oh yeah, no, it's good for your mental health, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I just ignored that for a lot of my life.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Many of us do. Many of us
but
do.
I can't stress the importance of it because one, my recovery's better,
Yeah.
and just the way my mind works, my thinking is better, and I'm not so like because I'll feel drained at the end of every day, especially getting off the golf course. Like
Yeah.
that's not even talking about what it's done for my golf game, just the fact that I get enough rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a long answer, but yeah, so I'm a bit of a night owl. Better now though.
Heard. Heard. Better now. That is excellent. That is excellent. It is remarkable. There's a gentleman that I work with, my full-time role, and he did a little bit of an experiment when he had a child and said, I'm just going to align my sleep schedule with their sleep schedule. And he started sleeping like 8, 9, 10 hours a night. And he said the changes were ridiculous. He was like, I
Hmm.
feel like a brand new person. He's like, my hair's growing faster. He's like, everything is just, it just shows that, yeah, your body needs it to like really
Yeah,
just work efficiently. And like you said, added benefit on the golf course is fantastic.
it's restorative, isn't it? And a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of the well, from my understanding and from what I've done, and at the end of the day, you're the expert on all of this. So, but a lot of mindset is actually really about managing your nervous system and things, isn't it? And that's what sleep
Hmm.
and your sleep pattern really is
There you
actually
go.
doing, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
allowing your body
absolutely
to
true.
rest and repair itself, basically.
That's
So,
incredibly well said.
yeah, is that
Yes.
right?
That is, I would agree with that. Yes, 100%. Speaking of which, do you wear any sort of wearable device? Do you wear a Whoop, Oura
No,
ring,
I don't
anything?
at the moment. I did look into them. I'm not like because I did for a little bit. I wore Apple Watch.
Uh-huh,
But I never
sure.
like I don't know what I'm one of those fussy people. I don't have anything on me like when I'm playing
Yeah,
golf.
I can understand
So
it.
I might still look into it, but yeah, it's just because I see everybody wearing them, and I know the benefits that it helps out because it tracks your sleep, like your heart rate,
Sure.
absolutely everything, doesn't it?
It does.
But it
They,
might be something that I look into, but I just don't know if I'd wear it on the
the
course.
course.
So
Yeah.
would it always give me all of the data that I needed if I'm not wearing it when I'm doing most of my exercise? You know?
Yeah, yeah, you make a good point, right? I mean, I guess it would really depend on what you wanted to use the data for. If you
Yeah.
just wanted to track sleep, well then okay, that doesn't really necessarily matter. We can still get what we need to from it. But you mentioned the word recovery, and that's oftentimes kind of the key category they will use, and then break it
Okay.
down to resting heart rate and breathing rhythm and HRV or heart rate variability, which is obviously a really popular one as of recently. So, yeah, if you ever add that to the arsenal, let me know, and we can work
Yeah.
that into our conversations a
Yeah.
bit.
Okay. Yeah, I will actually because
Excellent.
yeah. Might be worth sending. Like, I might send them a message to see if I can. Maybe it's a collab. I don't know.
There you go. There you go.
This is
I
it
like where your
now.
head's at.
All
Yes,
this social
indeed.
media stuff. Oh, like
That's
the amount
right.
of people that I get around me going like, "Oh, you're an influencer." I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know if I
Uh,
am. I like,
yeah.
mate, hopefully, I'm a positive impact on
In the
people.
best type of way possible. Yes,
Exactly.
indeed.
That's what I
Exactly.
want. I don't want all of that. Like, yeah, like, oh, he's just like he's an Instagrammer. Like, yeah,
Right.
we're more than that. That doesn't define us as people.
That's right.
Us having
We're
this
not. We're not.
conversation, doesn't it?
That's right. We are not one dimensional, not at
No,
all. There's so
no.
many facets. Well, speaking of recovery, how is it was shoulder? Remind me, it was shoulder
Yeah,
that
so
was
my
acting?
muscles in my back really, like
That's what it
some
was.
rhomboids, but yeah, I feel fantastic now. Yeah, again, I did. So when we spoke last week, I said, didn't I kind of went back a little bit too early. I played like a couple of days and I probably shouldn't have done, and it kind of aggravated it. But now it feels solid as anything. I'm making sure I do look after it, but if I'm honest, I played 36 holes today, and
Okay.
did a lot of practice as well, and it felt great. So I'm going to listen to my
Okay.
body. If it does
Okay.
hurt, I will rest, but feels fantastic. Yeah, no, we're back. We're so back.
That's great. Yeah, how does it feel? I mean, that process of recovering from any injury, regardless of size or severity, can
Yeah,
be brutal, frankly, for any athlete, just because you're
yeah,
not able to do the thing that fills you up. So
yeah.
how does it feel to go out there, play 36, practice, and say, this feels all right?
I I think all of golf for me. I think it's something that a lot of people forget, but I really believe that everything in life is actually to do with gratitude for what you have and, what's going on in your life there.
Hmm.
And it's given me an immense sense of that because I will say, like, I can't, well, in the lead up to it happening, I was playing a lot of golf, I was
Hmm.
practicing, and I found myself, if I'm honest, I was getting frustrated on the course, like,
Hmm.
at the results, at the scores I was getting and things like
Sure.
that. But when I was having to rest and I couldn't play golf, all I wanted to do was just play golf, like, as in just
Hmm.
enjoy it.
Hmm.
And now
Hmm.
when I'm out there, I'm just immensely grateful that I'm even doing it. Like, that I can even
Hmm.
just do my favorite thing at my favorite
Yeah.
place. Like, and
Yeah.
it kind of takes a lot. It's taken a lot of the mental, I don't want to call it stress, but like the mental stress by,
Yeah. The
just like,
weight of it.
the pressure of, like, you put it on yourself going like, oh, I'm getting better. I'm improving. Why isn't this
Hmm.
reflecting in the results that I'm getting? However, now
Hmm.
I play with a different kind of freedom now, like, and it
Right.
feels amazing. And
I
at the end of the
imagine.
day, I go, even if when I do it a bad shot, I just go, hey, I'm out here. Like,
Uh-huh.
I've got the opportunity to go and do it again. When I was resting up, I made it sound awful, like, but really I had to take like 3 or 4 weeks off. But that
Sure.
felt like an eternity when
It
it's what
it
I
it,
want
it
to
does
do.
oftentimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But
Right.
yeah, so
Right.
I only see it, and I try to in most things in my life, really. I only see the challenges as kind of a positive. And that's without a doubt when I reflect, that's the biggest positive for me. Like, the
Yeah.
fact that I'm just immensely grateful for the fact that my body is allowing me to go and do the thing that I want to do the most.
Mhm.
So I'm
Mhm.
thankful and grateful to my body,
There we
and
go.
that's yeah, it's
I love it.
incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it reminds me of, I think a very relatable situation is like when we're sick, like say we have a bad head cold or,
Yeah.
flu or whatever, and you can't breathe. And you're like, all I want to do right now is be able to breathe. If I could just breathe, I would be so happy.
I'm not
And
waking up coughing all the way through the night and stuff like this.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
But it does raise a really interesting question, which is, we are oftentimes very reactive in our gratitude, right? We wait till something has gone wrong or we're unable
Mhm,
to, perform or show up or whatever it is to be like,
mhm.
wow, I just want that. So I'm curious for you, actually. I mean, going through this recent experience, and yes, we're fresh out of it. So the connection to gratitude is still very real and present because
Yeah.
it just happened. But talk to me about that. Like, how do you integrate that into, you know, 3 months from now when we have a conversation and if the first thing you say, oh, I'm just so grateful again, like how do you keep that present all the way throughout?
I mean, I think so. Yeah, again, gratitude. You say the word, but it is, if it makes me feel, if you are there, like, I mean, a lot of people say it, don't they? Like, I know a lot of religions and spiritual teachers
Hmm.
say that gratitude is the most important thing. Like, if you, it keeps you present because it's what's
Yeah.
there in that moment now.
Yeah.
And yet again, another thing on the golf course is that the present moment and what's in front of you is actually the most
Hmm.
important moment. And the same goes for life, isn't that? I spent so much time stressing, and, like, you get upset about something or an emotion you felt in the past, like, over this, I'm not golf related, but over an experience and things like that.
Sure.
And then you're living in the past, or when you do want to put up into golf, you hit a bad shot 3 holes ago, and then
Mm.
you're not actually being present over where you are right now. And
Yeah.
it's the smallest things for me, Trev. Like,
Sure.
I So when I go around the golf course, like I love the fact that I'm out in the open, I'm in nature. And I like so
Hmm.
when I'm checking like the wind direction for a shot, I look up at the trees
Hmm.
and I look at the way the wind's blowing. Like I want to see the way the leaves are kind of bending this way, and just like in the littlest details. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful that I'm even looking at that right now, like that
Yeah.
in that moment.
Yeah.
It's just the smallest things. And when I'm driving in my car and I've got a window down and I feel the breeze on like my arm there, just the
Hmm.
smallest things. But it's something that's really helped me in terms of, well, just having a lot more fulfillment in my own life. And then
Hmm.
also yet again, gratitude on the golf course. It's just it's a way of thinking that I don't think will ever change for me. And sometimes I think people get caught up a lot in what might happen and what has happened and all this kind of stuff. And I think the
Sure.
most important thing is just being present and being there in that moment. Like I mean, it's the
Yeah.
most important thing in life, right in front of you.
It's It is, I mean, it is life that is right there,
It
right in
is.
front of you. Yes. So if we're going to
It
live it,
is.
we might as well be there.
Yeah.
Well, and I really like that too, because it's like, you hear a lot when we're thinking about any practice like this. Like say, tapping into gratitude was a habit we wanted to create more frequency with. Well,
Yeah.
one of the best ways to create any habit, as many people know, is habit stacking. So introduce it or connect it rather to something that's already happening. And you threw
Yeah.
out two really interesting examples there. Like if I'm trying to read the conditions of the wind, well, I'm going to look at the trees. And as I
Yeah.
look at those trees, yes, it's one part wind, but it's also part connection with nature right then and
It
right
is.
there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Driving the cart, wind on your face, wind on your arms, again, tuning into the senses, keeping us present. I just like the way that those are kind of paired together like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think because that's again something that I've learned to understand a lot more. So when like so in like meditation and things like that,
Hmm.
they say to feel your senses or like understand the sense.
Yes.
So sometimes when you're getting into that kind of zone, it's something you can hear. Like I like the I like feeling like the grip on my non-gloved
Hmm.
hand. Like just when I'm like setting up to a shot, I feel
I
the
love
like
that.
the compound of the grip on my hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The
there's
tactile
something.
element of it.
Yeah, yeah, like literally down to those kind of details. And I
Yeah.
think really like that way of thinking, like I know for a fact that I play my best golf when I'm actually there in that moment like that. I know for a
Hmm.
fact that I do when I am tapping into the senses. Because
Hmm.
yeah, again, it's something that's present in that moment
Yeah.
rather than rather than me like being in my head about something that's happened over there.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it brings me there, like here now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now.
Yeah, it anchors you into it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to be paying attention to the, well, one might even say impossible, the present
Yeah.
moment sensation, right? Of maybe feeling that
Yeah.
glove or the club or whatever, and then also to be thinking about hole six that was
Yeah.
30 minutes ago, right? Like
Yeah.
they can happen very quickly back and forth.
Mm.
But even that back and forth is realistically the skill coming back to your anchor in this way. Um,
Yeah.
something interesting you mentioned though, and to kind of connect it to something else that I think might be relevant to our
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
We're having this conversation around gratitude, and how it's kind of come up through your kind of re-entry from the injury there. Um, and one other element we know about gratitude is coming back to the nervous system. It is incredibly powerful in helping us shift out of that fight or flight state.
Yes.
And in some of our communication prior to this conversation, you were mentioning, something we might want to talk about is
Yeah.
how I believe when you're above par, it's fight or flight, or I might have this backwards, or when you're under par, it's the
Under
opposite.
par.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So talk
Under
me
par.
through this because I'm wondering if gratitude might be able to play its way back into this to any degree, and maybe we
I
can connect a few
I think
dots.
it could because obviously I've told you about where all my dreams in the game and obviously where I want and where I want to take this.
Hmm.
And it seems to be it's subconscious, and I understand that it's kind of like it's the animalistic side. It's up here. It's that kind of programming in our brain
Hmm.
that kind of goes, oh, okay. So for example, when I'm under par, all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like I feel different. Like as in my thoughts thoughts race a lot more. I know for a fact that I'm starting to tighten up and I'm start steering. Like, and it's in my mind, and I know for a fact that no matter what score I'm on, yet again, it doesn't affect that present moment. Like I should still be able to play the shot that I want to play
Mm.
in the exact
Mm.
same way. However,
Mm.
the amount of times that I don't like saying the word blown or anything like that, but I've blown going
Sure.
well under par and things like that is it, like, you know, it gets frustrating, and then you have that kind of learned behavior and that memories, and then obviously it's the kind of the subconscious cycle that happens. So
Mm.
even when I've had an amazing start, you know, it just never, like, I mean, today was a classic example. This morning I
Mm.
just made I played good golf, made a couple of silly mistakes. I was 4 over on the front nine, and then I
Mhm.
ended up shooting 3 under on the back. And
Mm.
like all of a sudden, I've only shot 1 over par, which is okay, it's fine. But I know where I want my game to go, and that that kind of transition, it feels like, to
Yeah.
me, my body or my mind feels like it's safe when it's over par because it's something that's known to me. You know, it's something that my mind
Ah.
understands. Like it goes, we're safe here. You know, the amount of times that
Mm.
I can go, say I go 2 under through, I go the first 7 or 8 holes at Woodbury at my home course. I like really,
Mhm.
it's tough. Like it's a really
Mhm.
tough course. And I've say I'm like 2 under through seven.
Mhm.
We've talked about hole eight before, haven't we?
Yes.
The amount of
Yes.
times I've got on that tee, I'm under par, and then it gets out of bounds left. Like, you know, it's just, and I don't even
Mhm.
necessarily think well, maybe I am subconsciously thinking it. Maybe it is my mind saying that, and it just, my body just contorts into a shape that the ball goes left. Like, you know, it's
Mhm.
just, that's an
Mhm.
example, but
Sure.
it's the way unfortunately, it's been the story of a lot of my rounds recently. And, you know, I know that I have the capabilities to go well under par. And I know, like, I think a lot of golfers do know that their ability is beyond what they've been shooting on a course a lot of the time. That's part of the frustration, or part of what's so tough about this game, I think. Um,
Mhm.
but it is that it just feels like, you know, the amount of times I'm like under par, and then all of a sudden 3 holes later I'm a couple over par or something like that, and and
Mhm.
then after that happens, I just play free and play my best golf, because it's kind of like, oh well, you know, I'm fine now. You know, does that make sense? Is that
I think so. I think so.
yeah?
I'm starting to grasp it a little bit here. Um, talk to me about this because it is fascinating, right? I hear you say, I know I have the capability to go, and play. Clearly, there's something that's still within the mix that says, I don't know about that. Do we have
Mhm.
maybe enough to keep it? Do you have enough to, maintain it? It almost feels like that maybe is a little bit of a separation. I know I have
Yeah,
enough to get there, but do I believe I have enough to stay there? I don't
yeah.
know. I'm curious if your thoughts on this. How does that land?
Well, I know, and I've spoken about it on my channel before, really. But I know for a fact that when, you know, so people get so hung up on their score, and, like, you know, so a lot of my friends, they'll play you know, they'll have their score on their phone. You know, so many people
Hmm.
score on their phone now, so they're looking at it and they're going, oh, I'm on for my best round, like, you know,
Uh
on the
huh.
whole 14, 15. And that's
Sure.
what I attribute it to. It's like you have that in your head, and then all of a sudden you start trying to steer and trying to protect. Whereas like,
Mm.
I know for a fact that, especially in golf, you obviously, you're conservative in your game plan and with your course management, and there's not all the time you go firing at flags and things, and that's something that I have
Sure.
actually got better at in terms of the way I manage the game more.
Mhm.
However, it's like, you do, like, as in, people do, you start trying to protect, but I know that I've got in that spot by playing attacking golf and making birdies. Like, you know, to go on the par, the pros, they make birdies, don't they? And then
Certainly.
it's not like they get, unless they're well ahead in the tournament, you don't really see any of them going like, oh, I'm going to, like, let off the gas and I'm just going to steer this home. You know, it is, they're still
Mhm.
playing. I still want to be able to attack that shot on the 18th or on the 17th, 16th when I'm under par,
Sure.
without
Sure.
feeling like I'm protecting. I want to
Mhm.
I want to still play attacking golf, but being aggressive to, well, Tiger said, actually being aggressive to a spot still, you know, and not
Mhm.
all of a sudden thinking about all of the landscape and all that kind of stuff. I just
Mhm.
like that's, and I think that is really where my mental game unfortunately lacks at the moment, at this moment in time. That makes sense.
Hmm. Yes, certainly, certainly. Um, now just getting a little more kind of insight here from you, and then maybe we can work. I'll throw out a few ways that maybe we can brainstorm around this.
Yeah.
What is it about that? Whatever point it hits, right? I hear you say, I'm in attack mode. That's, of course, what gets me to the under par situation to start
Yeah.
with. Then at some point, once I realize that I'm there, something switches, or it's almost like another thought or something might be introduced at that point, because then behavior changed to protected mode. What is
Yeah.
that maybe new thought that's introduced at that point that starts to change the equation?
I can't tell you because I know that I like realistically I try not to have that in my mind, like my school at the time. Yet, like I've said
Uh-huh.
before, it doesn't impact what I'm going to do on that shot. Really, it shouldn't do. It shouldn't
Heard.
really affect it. And all of this stuff we were talking about being present. I'm being present over that shot. That yeah, it's just that something must kind of sneak in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that yeah, just that all of a sudden I don't swing in the way that I know that I can swing. Like as in yeah, everybody hits a bad shot on a course, like as in pros hit
Sure.
bad. So that's fine. That happens. That's acceptance, isn't it? Like
Certainly.
I'm not sat there anymore going, oh, I'm worried about this being a bad shot or anything. I can accept and I
Sure.
can visualize and see the shot that I want to hit. If it doesn't go there, I will accept it and I'll go play the next shot. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't put a finger on like one thought that I necessarily
Yeah.
have. Some of it might come back to kind of expectation on myself, really.
Hmm.
It's that kind of knowing what I'm capable of, and I know that I hit the ball.
Mm.
Especially at the moment, I'm hitting the ball the best I ever have in my life. Like
Mm.
I've no doubt I have the capability to play this game. Like to play it to a great
Mm-hmm.
standard. Um, it is. It's just it. It's just like a little. It must be. You're right. It must just be like a little switch that happens when I can't say that I put myself under pressure and that, but it is. It's like an expectation that I know I can. I know what I'm capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's almost maybe it's kind of like I'm then like kind of forcing it. I don't know. Yeah,
Hmm.
tough
Well,
one.
yeah, it's interesting to chew on, and by no means do we have to land on something. I mean, that's what
No.
this process is great for. It slowly helps us kind of extract those insights.
Mm,
Um, but it is interesting as I'm hearing you just mention some of these different things. One thought that comes to mind is this idea of, well, I know I'm capable to get there, but
mm.
once I do get there, something around the lines of, am I capable of keeping it here? And maybe even more specifically, then, if we have one bad swing or whatever it may be, does that start to send a message of, oh shit, there it goes, oh god, like it's being threatened now, and
Yeah,
and now, I mean, which does make sense if there's a little crack in the armor, right? Because we have one
yeah,
bad swing, it's natural to want to retract and retreat and say, let me protect this. And I mean, that's a
yeah,
very talk about nervous system. I mean, this is
yeah.
literally what the nervous system is designed to do, to keep us safe. So certainly there's some serious validity to that. Talk to me a little bit more, if you don't mind, about, and this might be something interesting to zoom in on. You said, I'm attacking, I'm playing the right type of way, and then all of a sudden I'm not swinging it the same.
Mm.
Tell me a little bit more about all of the sudden. Is this literally, I kind of understand where I'm at and next swing goes out the window? Is it a slow kind of deterioration? Like,
Yeah,
what's that transition like?
I think it's like no, sometimes it just feels like it comes out of nowhere. It's not like I'm like stood over a shot and all nervous
Yeah.
about it and going like, oh, this has got to be a good one or anything. It's not. It's nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's probably the fact that sometimes sometimes you do look at a score, look what you're on, or where you are really. Like as in, I know where I am in a round, and I unfortunately, when you made a bogey and when you made pars and all this kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Sure. Certainly.
So you normally know where you are, and maybe it's kind of like I don't think I'm actually being present in that moment again. So as soon as that thought kind of process starts, yet again, I'm
Mm.
like kind of looking future. I'm like going like, oh, well, what happens if I keep going like this? What happens? And then all of a sudden, I don't think I'm actually present over what I'm trying to do. And the amount,
Hmm.
now you've asked me that, the amount of times that I think I haven't done my process like properly, like I'm pretty, I'm good at what I do behind the ball and everything. Like my routine is pretty, very good. It is the mental routine of like that visualization. And like we spoke about before, and we'll talk about some more, but,
Uh-huh.
actually saying what I'm going to do with it. Because tonight's a great example. I barely ever broken par on the front line of Woodbury because, like I say, it's
Hmm.
tough. Like, as in
Tough.
some of the best players that have gone around there. I think the course record is like 67 or
Oh
66
wow.
or something like that. Yeah, so it's a high
It's
course
tough.
record.
Yeah.
And even then, that like they're only like 1 or 2 under par on the front. When they've done it, because that's just that it's a tough start really.
Sure.
Um, but tonight I went out and played 9 holes. So I played 18 in the morning. I said, didn't I? I think I shot like
Hmm.
a couple over. Like I was 4 over front line that in the morning
Yeah.
where I played. Um, and then this evening I went out and I was just playing. Two of my friends up there. We literally just in carts. Like I wasn't walking or anything.
Uh-huh.
And that might actually be part of it, to be fair. But I went out and I think
Interesting.
I was one under. I was one under on the front line because
Oh.
there's no jeopardy or anything like that. There wasn't. I was just playing relaxed golf, and I talked about what I wanted to hit, and what I was doing
Hmm.
because one of my friends who was playing is quite new to golf. So I
Uh-huh.
thought, oh, it'd be good for them to understand, like, what I'm thinking over every shot. All of a
Sure.
sudden, I started talking it out, and I mean, I didn't actually hit a bad shot, really, like all evening.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's huge.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
huge, Trev,
Well,
actually.
it's some good collaboration, kind of sprout some
Yeah,
nice
no,
ideas. Well,
yeah,
there's something interesting about that as well as I hear you mentioning that is there's a kind of a model within sports psychology around attention, and
mhm,
attention can oftentimes be what we'd consider internal or
mhm,
external, and then it can also be narrow or broad. So
yeah,
internal, narrow, right, is maybe I'm noticing just the sense of my breath, maybe inside my body.
mhm,
External broad might be like what you're saying earlier. I'm taking a look at the surroundings, I'm bringing in the nature, et cetera, et cetera. And
mhm,
for most people, there's a kind of quadrant within that they operate best from. And you
yeah,
mentioned something along the lines earlier of playing my best when I'm kind of out of my mind, out of my own head.
yeah,
And now I hear you say this portion, and well, as we speak, I mean, we're realistically anchoring to our surroundings in some sort of way, and I don't know, it kind of gets us out of that a little bit, and
yeah,
just helps kind of clean up that process, right? I mean,
yeah,
when we're speaking, it's literally only the words we're speaking, not these kind of rapid fire thoughts that can come
yeah,
across our brain. I don't know.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Because
Interesting.
I've noticed as well, because obviously, like, you see the professionals, and it's like it's something that, yeah, again, I've spoken about this in
Hmm.
like when I first posted videos as well. Actually, now I think about it, one of my first videos, I'm talking about like, I think I put it as like think like Rory McIlroy.
Hmm.
But they visualize the shot, they see the window, like some of them see a window they want it to go through and things like that.
Sure.
But they're also talking the shot through with their caddy. Their caddy's right there, and they're
Hmm.
saying exactly what they see, aren't they?
They
Like
are
they're
billion
they're there
percent.
just talking about it, and obviously because he's got a caddy there, and I'm not just talking to myself, basically.
Right.
But maybe that is something that we need to implement, actually, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I got a caddy now. I don't really worry about people thinking I'm crazy. If I'm honest, Trev, they can think I'm
Sure.
crazy because maybe
Yeah.
I am a little
Let them
bit
have fun.
crazy, Trev.
Yeah.
Maybe I am.
It gives us permission to be, to live that out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Hmm. So give me an example. Let's play with this a little bit further. Like this evening, perhaps when you went out and played, what might some of that kind of talking myself through it as you kind of commentated it for your playing partners? What would that sound like?
Wow. I'll give an example. Actually, I
Yeah.
hit quite a bad tee shot off of 6, and there's trees
Okay.
kind of down the right, and there's a back pin, just to paint the
Mhm.
picture a little bit. Back pin
Sure.
on this kind of tier, and long of the green is just out of bounds. You bounce over there, it's gone basically.
Okay.
And there was a lot of wind off the right, and these trees are kind of blocking me, and I was just kind of like, okay, I got 175. 180 is normally like what I carry my 6 iron, but the wind's off the right, and I'm gonna have to hit a cut to kind of get it around this tree. And I know
Hmm.
for a fact that when I cut the ball, obviously it's going to take distance off, and it's going to kind of bank off the wind. Like the wind should just stop it. I shouldn't be able to miss this, like over miss it right, or if it does, it's not by much. And
Sure.
I just stepped up and hit the shot. Like I just stepped up and hit
Hmm.
like a high cut with a 6 iron. I think it ended up short. It was like 20 feet, but
Hmm.
the ball flight was exactly what I imagined. At the end of the day, I clubbed it perfectly because I was short of, and I had 2 putts up the tier, and I'm fine. Like
Hmm.
balls in play, we're happy. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's one moment that I know that I've just gone and executed exactly what I envisioned and what I talked about. Um,
Yeah.
so
Interesting.
it was that kind of thought process, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and if I'm truthfully honest, I don't know if I'm doing that when I'm just playing, when I've got a scorecard in my hand and I'm playing a competition. I don't know if I actually have that dialogue with myself when I am
Hmm.
playing that, which is
Well,
interesting.
it is. It is. And I mean, when we just kind of think about the typical, I guess we could just say context of more competitive settings, right? It is natural for us to go more internal in those
Yeah,
moments, right? I think that's a pretty shared human trait. When we start to get under a little pressure, maybe a little shit hits the fan, it's
yeah,
natural to kind of turn inwards a little bit and say, oh God, what's going on here, right?
yeah, yes,
So this is almost like a direct way to kind of counterbalance that and say, okay, especially now, with habits like this, it's best that we execute them every time, right? We don't use them
mhm,
only when shit goes wrong because then we kind of package that with a certain memory.
yeah,
But if we establish this as, or experimented, rather, is probably a better word, with this as a habit, it would be interesting to see in those moments where, all right, we're starting to creep under par, we're starting to get a nice little momentum. Yeah, how does it just kind of help balance those moments and kind of manage those moments? Because again, it's taking us external, it's taking us out of our own mind, it's getting us connected to our target, to our process, and then if you would then have the commitment level to say, I'm going to step up and hit it. I don't
yeah,
know. That sounds like a good combination, at least to
yeah,
experiment with.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
That's all I got for you, Trev.
Oh,
Yes.
that's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. There is maybe, I'll mark this down as one of our takeaways to continue experimenting with talking through the shot.
Yeah,
Um, but one other that we don't have to land on anything here, but I'd be interested in pick your brain in, or pick your brain
yeah.
on rather, is, I guess, first question. Would you go out and play around?
Mm.
What is the goal? Do you have a goal when you typically go out there? Do you have an intention, a target? Kind of how do you approach around?
Well, see, that's the thing. And I'll be honest with you. I think it's been like a broader goal for me because, like for I've always wanted, like, as in like a short term goal. It's like
Huh?
I want a plus handicap. So I want to be a plus handicap golfer, like that's the
Heard.
level I aspire to, like, in the short term.
Yeah.
And that's been a goal, like a short term goal of mine. And unfortunately, you can't do that when you go under par or go over par all the time. Like, as in,
Heard.
typically you have to be shooting under par most of the time, don't you, to do that?
Sure.
Um, so I think that may be something that is part of the expectation because it's probably
Mm.
well, it's my like, at the moment, it's my personal brand and things. Because at the end of the day, so I've got all these plans for, like, what I want to do. I've told you about it a little bit. Like, I'm on my
Yes.
own website and things, and obviously I'm
Yes.
helping people get better at the game.
Sure.
Like now, and I don't think it nullifies everything that I'm doing anyway. However, um, I've always wanted to put that. It's been part of my website to go, like, everything that's taken me to a plus handicap. And I think maybe that's something
Uh-huh.
that's maybe been a little bit of a connection with when I am under par, all of a sudden that maybe creeps in as well. Um,
Uh-huh.
that I put that kind of external, because really it is external, isn't it? It's not actually it, my or me helping people get better at the game isn't actually connected to what I'm doing in that moment right now. Like, as in, I get thousands of messages, or I've had thousands of people say how much I've helped them, and the comments and
Mm-hmm.
lovely things. I'm sure you have exactly the same because, well, when I comment on your stuff, I love it
Yes,
so
indeed.
much.
You've been the contributor. Yes, indeed.
but it's, I know for a fact that I'm helping people get better no matter what. And I think I've
Mm-hmm.
attached too much importance maybe to to that. Because yet again, the plus handicap is not even like a small part of my greater goals in this game. Like
The
as we've
whole
said,
journey.
it's
Right.
not. Really that doesn't even matter now I think
Mm,
about it. You know, I've put all of this stigma and things around like, oh yeah, I want to be able to say that. But realistically, is that something that's just it? That's something that I'm lacking maybe in myself, perhaps. Like,
hmm.
something that I feel like that's a fulfillment for my own like kind of personal, um, you know, well, personal goals. But
Yeah.
now I say it, it's got a little bit vain and quite intrinsic in a way. It's not like it's not like it doesn't actually define me, does it? It doesn't define what I'm doing. Um,
That's a really good point. Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't fully define the entire picture, I
no,
suppose. Hmm.
yeah. God, food for thought, Trev.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Mindset
indeed.
Coach Trev, Jake Reddick Golf. Look at this. Like,
We're
just,
whipping it up. Yes, indeed. Well, something that
mm,
maybe we can start to close this on then is two things that I'd like you to maybe think about, chew on, and I'll send this over to you so that in our
yeah,
next chat we can dive further into it. A
yeah,
would be, yeah, let's continue experimenting with this, just talking ourselves through the shot,
hmm,
wherever that looks like or is in the pre-shot routine. Great, that's just something
yeah,
to work with. But then B, right? I really like this most recent kind of these last words you're mentioning around, oh, well, I have always had this kind of aspiration to be plus. And that makes a lot of sense. Like, who
yeah,
plays a game to be shitty, right? Like, yeah, okay. Like, yeah, want to be good, of
yeah,
course.
yeah,
And what we might be able to do is just rearrange things a little bit. So instead
mhm,
of, being plus as the main goal, what if we reorganize so that being a plus player is actually a byproduct of
yeah,
other goals, right? Where it's like, great, we can keep that up there. We don't have to kick it
yeah,
out, but let's just shift it to the left a little bit, maybe replace with a few others. And if we tackle these few others, we're probably going to get that as well, just as an
yeah,
added benefit, right? It's going to be icing on the
hmm,
cake because we're doing the others so solidly. And that would be my question that I'll leave you with and that I'd like you to chew on a little bit is, okay, there's a million things, obviously, that we could probably say attribute to being a plus, handicap.
mm,
But as an individual, as the golfer that you are, there's probably, my hunch is, three or four things that we can narrow that down to and say these
hmm,
have the most leverage, right? These
yeah,
create the biggest impact, whether I work that way or not. And it
yeah,
would be interesting to get your thoughts on what those are, for one.
mm, hmm,
And then we can start to talk a little bit about, like, okay, well, then what does it look like, right? Like,
yeah,
for an example, I work with a gentleman who talks a lot about body language. And
yeah,
obviously, his goal is to go out and win tournaments. But for him, that means in order to give himself the chance, body language has got to stay empowered, it's got to stay proud, it's got to stay big, etc. And
hmm,
if we do those things, well, then typically that leads us in the right way. So
hmm,
this is long winded, but I promise it should be relevant. If we could start to uncover this, what it could also help us do is to create some kind of mini goals. So
mm,
when you go out and play, right, even if it's in the subconscious, it's all the way in the back, all the way back there. If the goal is still, I want to be, plus handicap, then what happens when you get to under par? It's like, okay, well, I've achieved my goal, right? Like, even if it's way in the back of our mind, it's like, well, I'm there. Now,
yeah,
what is my goal? There isn't something that it's like, well, now what do I do? Right now, all
yeah,
I can do is protect it because this is the only thing that mattered. So
yeah,
maybe that's why we can bring a little something else into the surface, have some mini goals here. So regardless if you're, one over or 12 under, it's like
yeah,
we can keep chipping away because job's not done, right? That is
no,
a byproduct of the job that we're actually after. So
yeah.
I'll clean this up so it makes a little sense because I know I'm kind of word vomiting here. But in
No, you're not.
general,
I'm with you the whole way here, Trav.
okay.
You
How
got me
how
nodding
does it
like a
land?
damn fool here. My neck's hurting, like I'm nodding.
Oh, that is too great. Excellent. Excellent. Well, then maybe that's a little something to explore. Now, last question before we part ways here. Remind me, when is club championship? Next week? Is that right?
This weekend. This
This
week.
weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. This
Yeah.
weekend. This
And I tell you
weekend.
what, Trev, I feel fantastic. At the end of the day, it's
Hmm,
just it's any other round of golf. And I know that.
yeah. Yeah.
I know that, and it's been really interesting this week because, as I've said to you, I'm up there most days. Like I'll practice and record and
Right.
do all this stuff. Um, and normally I have the chipping green like basically to myself, and then all of a
Uh-huh.
sudden it's come to like club champs
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
packed. Like
It's packed.
everybody goes, "Oh, we better practice this week now."
Dialed
Like,
in. Yes.
yeah,
That is
but it's really
hilarious.
interesting.
That is hilarious. Well, it's one thing to practice and prepare physically. It's another to prepare mentally. And here you
Mhm.
are putting that time and effort in, which is half. I mean, I'm biased. I would argue is even more than half the battle when you're out there because your skills are your skills, right? You know, you're a damn
I
good
couldn't
golfer.
agree more, mate. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it
Yes,
is.
indeed.
I really do think golf is it's got to be like 90% mental, really. No
That,
matter what standard you're at,
yes.
I really believe that. And as much as because I say it all the time, and I post a lot of videos on technique and things that have helped me
Hmm.
understand the swing more and get better at
Sure.
the golf swing and hitting a golf ball.
Sure.
But I always say, like at the end of the day, that all the mindset stuff that I've posted is actually
Mm.
far more important than any of that.
Mm.
You can have like I said, I didn't have a good swing last year, and I played very good golf. Like, I've got even though my swing and the way I hit the ball has come on, I knew how to manage
Hmm.
that, and I knew my mind. I knew what I was going to see out there.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's really interesting because I don't think many people pay attention to that.
No.
They'll go and bang balls on the range, which is
Sure.
good. Like,
Yeah.
great
You,
practice.
you need the
Bang
reps.
balls, you have to. Yeah, but
Yep.
exactly. But I don't know if I've ever, beforehand in my golf, I don't know if I ever had that like state of freedom and trust in what I had worked on.
Mm.
You know, um,
Hmm.
whereas now I feel like it's totally different. Like
Yeah.
I know if a ball misses or if I'm going to miss a shot, I know where it's going to miss now.
Yeah.
And then that
Yeah.
becomes part of like the acceptance if it does happen. It's
Yeah.
not it's I know that I can commit to my golf swing now, and that's not a place that I've been in. I don't think going
Mm.
into any golf round really like beforehand, but up until like it's actually really since my shoulder. Like obviously I had a couple of little rusty rounds where I
Sure.
just wasn't quite there with it. But
Sure.
yeah, I know the way I've hit the ball today, like this week, that last week is better than ever. So
There
we're
you go.
ready. I know
There.
I know my game is there. It's ready. I know I
You
am.
got everything you need.
Just up
Absolutely. You got
here.
it. That's, you got everything you need. 100%. Incredible. Incredible. Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to stop this recording here because I don't know
Yes,
what's
sir.
going to happen with this. So let's try that.